My gosh, I am so excited to be here because I'm normally talking to junior high kids, So it's great to be here. So if at any point any of you feel like texting or talking or making out, go ahead. It will not mess me up in any way. Somebody please put earphones in your ears because it'll mess me up. I have the honor and privilege of working in the prevention, secondary prevention, and treatment field when it comes to drugs and alcohol. And so what I get to do is I get to travel all across the United States doing this. One of the things that I always ask, and I'm always a little bit shocked by the hands that go up, I always ask this question. How many of you in this room have at some point had an uncle, an aunt, brother, sister, mom or dad, somebody that you stopped talking to because of something that's drug or alcohol related? Let me see those hands, right? Look how many hands are up. Almost everybody's hand, right? And you stop talking to that person. So the thing is, how do you get that person back in your life? How do you start talking to them? The great undone. Maybe they're not joining your team because you're speaking the wrong language. I come from a non-use background. So what that means is I've never been drunk, never smoked a cigarette, never tried marijuana or anything like that, but I came from a family that was crazy when it came to drugs and alcohol. So here is 4-year-old Ray, okay? This is my sister at this photo, was 11 years old. My brother wearing black was 18. And my other brother, who has his arms around everybody right there, is age 21. Now, this looks like a great photo, but like I said, I came from a non-use background. This is my family. Let me tell you what the backside of this photo looks like. My brother in this photo, who's age 21, that has his hands around everybody, about a year and a half after this, got busted smuggling heroin into the United States. Had to spend time at Terminal Bay up in the San Francisco area. My other brother, wearing black, had a lot of anger issues. And I can talk about our family now because we're all doing so well and have done so many amazing things afterwards. My brother, wearing black, had a lot of anger issues, drank a lot of alcohol, did a lot of heroin as well. My father was a fighter when he got drunk. Man, you put some beers in him and he was ready to fight anybody and everybody. My sister right there, about 3 years after this, started smoking marijuana. My sister has done so much meth in her life, they're not able to put teeth in her mouth anymore. I don't know if you're familiar with the term meth mouth, but my sister, being 59 years old, everything she eats is either through a straw or in baby food form. Now, I don't know about you, being Hispanic, that makes it weird at Christmas time. I had to make my sister a tamale smoothie. Bzz, there you go, sister. You want some frijoles in that smoothie, right? Yeah. I love that joke because you're like, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? What do I do in this situation, right? Yeah. My mom was a weird kind of drinker. How many of you have ever seen people that drink, they get drunk, but they try to act like they're not drunk? Who's seen these people, right? Like we're stupid, like we don't know, right? Yeah. I would come home and my mom would be holding drinks like, ay, mijito, I'm okay. And I'd look at her like, Mom, you're not okay. You're doing Michael Jackson right now. You're not good. Yeah. It was weird because my mom, she tried to hide her alcoholism, but we knew she was drinking. She had all these little secret recipes like margarita meatloaf, tequila tacos. In the morning, she's eating Corona Cheerios because they're magically delicious. I never brought my friends over for dinner because they'd leave with a buzz. My friends would be like, dude, can your mom take us home? And I'd be like, no, look at the woman. She just had a 6-pack of burritos. She's not going anywhere, So it was crazy growing up in this house. My sister. I want to talk about my sister because I wanted to get my sister back. At one point, about 20 years ago, my wife and I sat down and we had this conversation that if anything happened to us, we wanted to turn our kids over to our sister because she carried so many of the same values that we had. 2 years later, we did not want our kids around our sister at all. Meth had taken over her life and we barely saw her, and every time we saw her, she was in such bad shape. Nod your head if you've ever been in this conversation. I sat down across from my sister, taking everything I knew as a drug and alcohol counselor, and I would look at my sister and I would say this, Sister, you need to stop doing drugs because. Who's been involved in that conversation, right? Yes. And my sister would sit there and go, yeah, you're right. Right? Then I'd walk away, and 2 days later, what would I find out? My sister's doing drugs again, right? And so what started to happen is this huge valley started to grow between me and my sister. My sister got tired of me preaching to her, and I got tired of her not taking this good advice. And this huge valley started to grow between us. I see the same valley growing right now between parents and kids and video games. I don't know how to talk to my kids anymore, and it's a type of addiction. So I had to learn a whole new way to speak to my sister. I had to figure out how to get my life back into hers. I want to teach you this language, okay? How many of you have been around a 4-year-old one time or another? Okay, good. How many of you have been around a good 4-year-old, the kind you actually like and will take selfies with? Good, good. How many of you have been around that 4-year-old you know is the son and daughter of Satan? Who's been around that one, right? Yeah, you look on the back of their head and they have that number 665 and a half, and you're like, little Damien is so close, right? Audience participation, here we go. 4-year-old is sitting on a sofa looking at a movie on their iPad. Somebody rips that iPad away from them. What do? They cry. Good, scream. 4-year-old has their favorite little blanket. Somebody rips that blanket away from them. What do? Cry. Good. That's going to be the answer for all of them. 4-year-old wants to go outside. They can't go outside. What do? Cry. 4-year-old wants a cookie before dinner. They can't have that cookie. What do? Cry. Time for a 4-year-old to go to bed. They don't want to go to bed. What do? Cry. 4-year-old wets their little pants. What do? Cry. Yeah, not the evil one, right? They're like, changing time, babysitter, right? Like, ah! Okay. Here is what a 4-year-old's little brain looks like, okay? Small letter I over this big, huge letter E, okay? Small letter I over this big, huge letter E. I stands for intelligence. E stands for evil. Right, yeah, right. I heard that, yeah. I do have junior high kids here. Okay. E stands for emotion. 4-year-olds have very little intelligence, a whole bunch of emotion. Now at age 5, our brain starts to change. Right around age 15, 16, the brain is changing again. For 21 and 23-year-olds, our brain is completely set. Here's what your brain looks like. Big, huge letter I over a small letter E. Okay? I-E, but big letter I, small letter E. Okay? Now, you think different than 4-year-old you. Watch, check this out. You're sitting down watching a movie on your iPad. Somebody takes that away from you. What do? You get it back, right? Yeah. Somebody takes your blanket away from you. What do? You get a better lawyer, right? Yeah. Somebody says you can't go outside, but you want to go outside. What do? Go outside. There's a cookie there before dinner. You shouldn't eat that cookie, but you want that cookie. What do? Eat it, right? Time to go to bed, but you're not ready to go to bed. What do? Stay up, yeah. You wet your pants. What do? You cry, right? There's some emotion left, right? You're like, dang it. Now I know why they make that product. Okay, good. All right. Here's what I have discovered, and here's how I was able to speak to my sister again. Here's how you're able to talk to that individual. Here's how you're able to talk to that team. Anybody who starts doing drugs and their brain is functioning like this, okay? What happens is drugs or alcohol or any of that, I'll kick it over here. Drugs or alcohol kick your brain to this other side. I'll just put the letter D up there for drugs because a whole bunch of different drugs do this. What they do is they cause the brain to begin to function on an... Well, you get the word die. That's kind of weird. Whoa. Message. But anyway, okay. What happens is drugs or alcohol cause the brain to begin to function on an emotional level, not an intellectual level. You have to understand these are two different languages. My sister, because she was doing drugs and alcohol, spoke an emotional language, but I spoke an intellectual language. Sister, don't do drugs because. I want to do drugs because they make me feel. I feel connected, I feel belong. And these two languages do not understand each other. It's like I was speaking Chinese and all my sister spoke was French. I could talk to her slower. I could talk to her louder. I could yell at her, but there's no way she's going to get this information. Okay? Let me show you how this information works. Young lady sitting right here in the black, right there. Can I use you as an example? Cool. What's your name? Marjorie? Okay. Everybody say hi to Marjorie real quick. Okay. All right. Let's say Marjorie and I are neighbors, okay? We've been neighbors for 10, 15 years. We know each other really well. My kids know her kids know my kids, we're good friends, okay? So one day, let me show you how this language works. One day I'm watching TV, I hear this knock on the door. I go to the door, I answer it, and it's Marjorie. Marjorie's standing there, her hair's all messed up, her makeup's running, she looks terrible, she just looks rough. And I look at her and I go, Marjorie, what's wrong? She looks at me and she can barely get the words out of her mouth, and she says, my black lab buddy just died. And I look at her and I go, oh, Marjorie, come on in, sit down right there. You know what? I knew this was going to happen. So you know what I did for you? I made you this super cool PowerPoint presentation, right? Sit right there, Marjorie. Look at this, slide number 1. Here's you and Buddy playing in the backyard. Cool, right? Look at this, really cool pie chart, right? Yeah, look, most labs only live to be 12, but yours lived to be 14. Great, huh? Check this out. Most labs have hip problems right around age 11, but yours didn't. Cool, right? Check this out. Am I giving Marjorie good information? Yes. But is that what she needs right now? What does she need? A hug. So you know that language, right? She's coming at me with emotion, and I am coming at her with what? Intelligence, right? So I have to change that language. Let's rewind this situation. I'm watching TV, I hear the knock on the door, I open the door and it's Marjorie. And she's standing there and she's crying really hard, and I look at her like, Marjorie, what's wrong? And she looks at me and she goes, my black lab buddy just died. And I look at her and I say, oh, Marjorie, come here. And I just hug her and I cry with her for a while. That's all I do. And then after hugging and crying with her for however long it takes, I look and I say, Marjorie, you know what, man, that's tough. But you know what's pretty cool? Most labs only live to be 12. Yours live to be 14. And you know what, Marjorie? Man, most labs have hip problems, but yours never did. Am I giving her the same information? Yes. But what am I doing? I'm wrapping it with emotion. I am meeting her emotional need before I even think of putting intelligence in there. That's what we have to do in order to get our team working. In order for me to rescue my sister, in order for me to get her back, I had to stop coming at her and saying, stop doing drugs because it was bouncing and hitting their head. And it was just going away. I ran a really successful program for years at a major hospital university down the road here, and all our staff did is talk emotion to the kids. We didn't give them a whole bunch of information, but we made this emotional connection with the kids over the course of 6 weeks. The hospital did this study on our kids. What they found out is 18 months after graduating this program, 91% of our kids did not go back to using drugs and alcohol. I wanted to teach my daughter, using this emotional language, because my wife and I spoke this all the time, I wanted to teach my daughter what kind of guy to date when she got older. And so at age 6, do I sit down with a flip chart and go, no, honey, this is what you need to do and all this? And no, because she won't get it. She's 6. This is how I taught my daughter who to date. One Friday night, I came home, and I put my keys in the bowl, I set my backpack down, and I looked in our living room, and my daughter had turned this entire living room into a Barbie utopia, okay? Everything Barbie was there. She had the airplane, the Jeep, she had the Corvette, the Volkswagen, she had the Barbie dream house. Who had a lot of Barbie stuff here, right? Okay, a couple of you, right? Yeah. Did anybody make the jacuzzi out of the shoebox, which I think is really creative, right? So she looks at me and she runs up to me and she's like, Dad, will you play with me? She's only 6 at the time. I looked and I said, honey, give Daddy a minute. Let me get a drink of water, say hi to Mom, and I'll come back and play. So I go and do my things, change my clothes, and I come back. And about 10 minutes later, I look at her and I go, okay, I'm ready to play Barbies. And I said, honey, who am I? And she goes, you're Ken, right? Now, Ken had already lost his shirt and a sandal, right? So he was already in rough shape. And I said, who are you? Collectively, she took all of her Barbies and she goes, we are Barbie, okay? Now, my daughter had every Barbie that was out there. She had the shaved head Barbie, right? The marker makeup Barbie. Oh, the one I love, she had the Hecho in Mexico Barbie, where the one arm just kind of swings around wherever she goes, and the other arm doesn't move, right? So I said, honey, how does this work? She goes, well, let me put all my Barbies behind the dream house, and then you come and you knock on the door. I'm like, okay, great. Now remember, my wife and I spoke emotion to our kids all the time. She sets her little Barbies up, and I come and I knock on the door. Barbie answers the door, and she looks at me, and she goes, who are you? I said, I'm Ken. Who are you? She goes, I'm Barbie. And I looked, and I said, I was walking past your house, and I heard all this music. What are you doing? She goes, we're having a party. I said, you are? I said, I know we just met, but can I come in? Now remember, this is Barbie's first time meeting this guy. She doesn't know who she is or who he is, right? What does Barbie say? Sure, come on in, right? So now Ken's in the house, and this is cool, man, right? So she's walking him all around, and she's introducing him to all the Barbies. Oh, your name's Barbie, cool. Oh, you're Barbie, cool. ¿Cómo se llama? Barbie, okay, cool, right? So he's meeting all these Barbies. She is showing Ken everything. The cars, the house, the jacuzzi, everything. So we're in the backyard playing, and then I look and I said, is this your house? And she goes, it sure is. I says, can we go see your house? And she's like, yeah, come on. So now it's just Ken and Barbie in the kitchen with everybody else in the backyard, and the music's playing. Potentially dangerous situation for a young lady? Yes or no? Yes. Showing the kitchen and all this kind of stuff. And then Ken looks over and he goes, what's that? She goes, that's the elevator. I says, where does it go? She goes, to the bedrooms. And I said, can I see the bedrooms? And what did Barbie say? Sure, come on, right? So we jump in the elevator. Potentially dangerous situation for a young lady? Yes. She doesn't know who this guy is. So now we go up, and we're in the bedrooms, and there's nobody on the second floor. So now we are sitting down on the bed, and we are having this conversation. Again, dangerous situation for a young lady? Yes, totally. So after we sit on these beds and we talk for a little while, Ken asked Barbie this. He goes, gosh, I'm going to be really honest with you. This is what I said. I don't have a job right now or a place to live. Can I live at the Barbie dream house? And what did Barbie say? Sure, come on. We'll all sleep on the floor. We're all friends, right? And I said, and I don't have a job or any money. Can I borrow some cash? And what did Barbie say? Sure. And I don't have any way to go look for a job. Can I drive that Corvette that's out there? And what did Barbie say? Sure. Everything Ken asked for was yes, sure. Here you go. You got it. Yes. About 20 minutes into this game, I hit pause on the floor. I said, honey, go talk to Mom. Tell her everything you know about Ken, everything we're playing. She grabs a couple of Barbies, and all excited, she runs into the kitchen, and she starts telling Mom everything she knows about Ken. The conversation starts off where I can hear it, then it gets down here, and now they're whispering. And I am laying on the floor trying to hear what Mom's saying, and I couldn't hear it. About 2.5 minutes later, I hear these little 6-year-old stompy feet coming back into the living room. She grabs all of her Barbies, she looks at Ken, and she goes, you're going to have to leave now. When you have a car, a job, and some money, maybe you can come back. But right now, you got to go, right? Did I teach my daughter who to date? Sure I did, right? You guys, you need to learn to speak emotion to get that person back into your life. My name is Ray Lozano. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you guys today.